So we're here on a Tuesday evening, and I'm starting to lose track of the days that we actually record Gilberto's Hours because last week it was a Wednesday, the week before that was a Thursday. Maybe we'll start doing, Mondays. But who do we think we are? We're like the NFL, having games on Wednesdays and Fridays and Saturdays. But yeah, I'm gonna blame the NFL actually for the scheduling conflict. And I'm sorry if you have to see my face twice in one day because later on we got the four compas together. What's up, Jorge? There. I actually had a Tapatio bottle somewhere here. I had to put it away, but I like your picture of Justin Herbert there, Jorge. I'll bring it up eventually, but I don't know. It's a free promo. Here you go. Why not? There you go. It's almost done. Need a new one. Hot sauce right there for Tuesday night. But yes, we're here for Gilberto's Hour. It's also your hour. I know the name is my name, but it's also your name, Gilberto's Hour. Shout out to Dan and Dave for creating that name there, which I've taken, and I'm gonna sell some T-shirts and hats and probably give them like no profit, maybe a little cut here for Dan and Diego there. But that's later. For Compas, check it out in an hour from now. Right now, Gilberto's Hour, a very quick, tight, condensed Gilberto's Hour because we got to get all the games in Week 16, and the reason why we're doing it today. Thursday night, I'll be at SoFi Stadium for Chargers versus Broncos, and then I'm gonna be unavailable on Wednesday. Check out Fernando filling in. Tag, you're in here in this matchup for Rams versus Jets. We'll talk about it briefly, but for more in-depth House of Horns, Rams versus Jets, check out Fernando and Victor on House of Horns tomorrow night, Wednesday, 6:30 Pacific. So a lot of promos to break down here, but we're here for a little bit to break down very quickly Week 16. But as always, I am not alone. Victor, Javier Corona, how you doing?
I'm doing good. It's good to be on here on a Tuesday. I was gonna say, I know we're doing this on a Tuesday, but maybe we take Gilberto's hour to the off season, and it'll be a good show to do on either on a Tuesday or on a Wednesday.
Yeah, people probably, I don't know, people want to hear me just break down UFC and boxing because honestly, Victor, the older I get, the less I care about other sports. I don't care about NBA. I don't care about baseball. Maybe I care about hockey by cracking here.
Yeah.
But yeah, but obviously there's a lot to get into in the football offseason. But maybe I'll find something to bet on because I do enjoy gambling here with you on a weekly basis. I'm not doing well, but yeah, sometimes if I hear your thoughts, I'm gonna use it and then maybe I can make myself some money here. So this is a show for you to make some money. Also win your fantasy football matchups here on Gilberto's Hour. Victor has a big time semifinal matchup in our league here for the playoffs. Your boy here is in the Constellation Championship. I'm proud of it. I don't care. It's been a rough season, so I'm gonna get this silver, bronze title, whatever the heck it is, plastic title. There you go for the Constellation bracket. But if you're in the middle of your fantasy football playoffs, if you want to have pride like I do and not have last place, because we all know last place finishers have to do some kind of punishment, you're in the right show. Don't hesitate. Ask us fantasy football questions here on Gilberto's Hour. Ask us NFL betting questions, or just have a conversation. Throw out any thoughts or just analysis that you had from the previous week in the NFL. Maybe you're looking ahead to all the playoff seedings. We're all doing that right now, checking out potential matches, potential scenarios. Later on today for Four Compas, we're going to break down NFC playoff teams that should be avoided by NFC playoff teams. Like, hey, does anybody want to face the Rams or the Buccaneers? I don't know right now. We'll talk about it later on. But anything you're thinking about in the NFL, this is your show right here. But we'll quit stalling here. We'll look at the comments as we go on. We're gonna break down the 3 games of the week, and then we're gonna go on for the rest of the bets here and the rest of the Week 16 slate. Jorge is saying, I listen to this guy every week, and my team's out of the playoffs. There you go. I'm sorry about that, Jorge, but you could play for pride and ask us any questions that you have for fantasy football. But let's get to it, Victor. We got the game of the week, which is going to be one very intriguing because maybe Patrick Mahomes may or may not play.
Yeah, let's get to it. Our top 3 matchups of the week. We're going to start off with our headline game of the week, and that is Texans versus Chiefs. This is a weird line, Gilbert, because yesterday when I looked at it, it was Houston Texans -2. It is now flipped to -3. It's been betted to the Chiefs here at -3, and the over-under is 39.5. Where do you want to start with this matchup? And as you said, do you think Patrick Mahomes plays on Saturday?
I thought this would be the week that they actually, sit them, rest them. It's kind of like in a perfect scenario here. And when you're thinking about, rest for Mahomes, not when it comes to playing the game and then winning the AFC number 1 seed there. But he was a full participant today, being a Tuesday because they play on Saturday. So it goes Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, day off Friday, play the game on Saturday. So that's a pretty good sign. But Victor, I think they're playing mind games. This is kind of my theory here that they want to, throw off the Texans and then maybe Saturday morning comes out. Yeah, they're gonna play it safe and go Carson Wentz here because, I shouldn't call it a golden opportunity, but one, you're risking it. You have a very kind of banged up, not banged up, but bad offensive line. They're not good on the tackles. Joe Tooney did impress me at left tackle in a pincher last week against Miles Garrett, but they don't have that many good tackles, and you want to keep playing your guard at left tackle. But that's not the point. The point is, you could play Mahomes with this kind of shaky offensive line against Daniel Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. on 6 days rest, and then have to play again on 4 days rest against TJ Watt if he's healthy and Alex Highsmith on Christmas on for the Steelers game. So why not take the day off, rest up? Then you get, I guess essentially 10 days off before the Christmas game. And then you get another 10 days off after the Christmas games. And then maybe you win that number one seed and then you get 2 weeks off. So I don't get why they're going to risk it here. I get that Mahomes is tough and he usually finds a way to play. But you have a 2-game lead right now on the Buffalo Bills. I say maybe it's worth the risk, Victor, here.
Yeah. I think for me to kind of start this off is I wonder how much the NFL pushes the Chiefs to make sure that he plays. And I know that there's no such thing as load management in the NFL, but without a second bye, it's starting to become a little tough. I did hear Chris Jones talking about this after they beat, I think, the Raiders on Black Friday. I forget who it was. It was against one of those teams where they've been beating
Yeah.
everybody lately, anyways. But he was talking about how he's going to talk to the Players Association because he wants the Chiefs to get a late bye if they're going to do this. Continue to put the Chiefs in a 10-day stretch because they did the same thing last season. And I think this is one where it's gonna start costing the Chiefs if you don't sit Patrick Mahomes, in the next couple games, it's gonna cost them a chance to three-peat. Like you need to do what's best to repeat if you are the Kansas City Chiefs. And so I wonder too, as you said, if this is them playing mind games with the Texans, are you also going to get fined if that's the case, if you end up not playing Patrick Mahomes? As we said, you have not Sunday night, but they're playing on Saturday, right? And they're on NBC. Then the following week they're on Netflix. And so these are primetime games or TV games or national TV games that need to be, you want your biggest start. So that's my biggest question mark here, Gilbert.
Yeah.
And I just want to get your
Yeah.
thoughts on that.
That's actually very interesting because I haven't really thought about it, and I don't think there's ever been a scenario like you mentioned. There's not really a load management in the NFL. If you could play, you go because also, yeah, they dress 48, 49 players in the NFL, but injuries happen. You need everybody that you can get that's active, and you don't really have the luxury to just sit players. So they won't get fined for being secretive because yes, he has an ankle injury. He's on the report. He's also being a full participant. So I don't think I ever seen. I'm not even sure it's in the rules that you could like just sit somebody or rest somebody. I think that's fine. We see it all the time in Week 18 when players have everything wrapped up. So I don't know if there's like a fine for it, but maybe you start something where like, hey, uh, maybe it's like the NBA. They're trying to figure out ways to avoid load management. So it could be one of the few times we see it. And I also wouldn't be surprised if Mahomes plays. But why not send a message to the NFL like, hey, if you're gonna play us on Christmas and then play us on a Saturday on a short week, like this is kind of the downside. These injuries are gonna happen. So and stop trying to. I'm okay with having Christmas games. Just don't force it on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. If it falls on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so be it. But Wednesday and Tuesday, now you're kind of playing with fire. And then everything about it is kind of screwed up because I know we got to move on. And I'll make my pick after this point here. They also made the Saturday games because they wanted to give, I guess, 4 days of rest here for the Texans, the Ravens, the Steelers, and the Chiefs. But now you're conflicting with the college football playoffs. Like this college league does so much for you. They give you a free minor leagues. They hype up the draft for you to get more attention for the offseason. And then you screw them over by putting games, 2 good games, by the way, during the college playoffs. So everything about this Wednesday thing is very forced. Maybe things, if he does sit, maybe some outcomes could occur in terms of for the future, how to deal with it. But that's the end of my rant here, and that's a good point by you. I never really thought about that way. Victor. But I'm gonna take a chance here. I'll take the Texans plus 2.5. Maybe they do sit them. Maybe it's kind of the okie doke here, and then you're up there with 2.5 points where Carson Wentz playing, and you have Hunter and Anderson there to help you out. So I will take a chance here, and then also they're a good team. They're a good defensive team. I'm not gonna say good overall team. I still got to see this offense wake up, but hey, maybe these pass rushers wake up and they make a difference here, Vic. What are you thinking?
Yeah, and to Robert D's point here, Tom Brady went a full year with the Bucks with no report on his bad knee. Nothing ever happened on that rule break. And then the same thing happened with
Good
OBJ and
point.
the Rams. Remember, nobody knew that he was missing his cartilage in his knee until later on the next season.
Yeah,
And so
forgot about that.
there's also that. I mean, that's the problem with the NFL and making these rules, and that's why I'm with you. I'm taking the Texans here because I just don't know what to expect from the Chiefs. As you broke it down, that offensive line is beat up. And I know a lot of people keep talking about the injuries to the Lions, and nobody's talking about these injuries with and what's going on with the offensive line with the Chiefs. I I I I'd be more worried about the Chiefs offensive line than I would be with the Lions defense, because I'll say this and I'll make this point quickly is all the defensive core needs to do for the Lions is, instead of playing man, just play, zone or something where you can kind of prevent some kind of it. With the Chiefs offensive line, you can't patchwork. We saw that against the Browns. So yeah, they were able to, finally blow someone out, but you can see that part of the reason he got hurt was because he's still getting hit. He's getting hit at a way higher clip. And so you're telling me that Daniel Hunter, and I gotta say this, I was wrong about Daniel Hunter. I thought he was way past his time now with the Vikings, and
Yeah.
so it's good to see him doing well with the Texans. But yeah, like as you talked about, the Texans defense is legit, and they're a reason why I think if they win a couple games in the playoffs, it'll be because of their defense and not their offense.
Yeah, 12 sacks for Daniel Hunter. I think that's second in the NFL to Trey Hendrickson from the Bengals, who's 12 and a half. And then you got Will Anderson Jr. with 10 and a half sacks, and they're second in the league in sacks with 45. So,
Yeah.
surprisingly, the Broncos are number one. They're 47 sacks there. So, yeah, so it could be a problem here. And yeah, I like that Joe Toney stepped in a pinch with DJ Humphries out and Wanya Morris kind of stinking it up there. But you don't want to keep doing that to your all pro guard there. So, a lot of problems. An intriguing matchup, though. Good storyline. Let's move on.
All right, next one is we got Steelers versus Ravens. The Ravens are 6-point favorites, and the over under here is 45. I was kind of surprised by this line, Gilbert. I don't know what you
Mhm.
have to say about it. It's pretty high
Yeah.
considering how good. Yeah,
I'm not surprised. I get the beat down from the Eagles plays a part, and credit to the Eagles. They really they're running away with that game. And I thought that Mike Tomlin's team is going to tough it out, have enough pride to at least keep it close. And I was wrong, and I lost that bet for the plus 5.5. But they clearly have no offensive firepower without George Pickens, and that's the reason why I picked the Eagles last week, even though I kind of been high on the Steelers most of the season. Is like I see how much they struggle to score points, and without like Pickens is great. You just throw the ball up there, it makes life easier for Russell Wilson. But he wasn't there. You can't have an older Mike Williams and um, Calvin Austin. He's kind of more of a gadget player, being your top guys. Fire moves is good, but he's more of a short yardage, possession receiver. But also, like now you got to face a very explosive Ravens offense. Like, can you keep up? I don't see it. So, and they're in Baltimore, and I'll say this real quick. I'm gonna take the Ravens. You know what? I'll even take the points here. I just don't think they're very explosive. Maybe if they have Najee Harris, and Jalen Warren, slow down the game, eat the clock, play keep away. That's the only way I see it. Also, by the way, Victor, TJ Watt dealing with an ankle injury. That's another problem right there. It just seems like they have a lot of problems that they won't win it. But I'll say this, Vic, I think they still have a good path to win the AFC North. They have a bunch of tiebreakers. They have a tiebreaker for the AFC conference record. They're 7-2. The Ravens are 5-4. So even if they tie them up, if you win out, I could definitely see Tomlin maybe beating the Chiefs, beating the Bengals, and you go into the playoffs with the AFC North title. So, and last thing we hear before I move on, I'll let you give your pick. I think they should be very cautious with Pickens, be very cautious with Watt. Who cares about the Ravens matchup? It's a non-playoff game, and like I mentioned, even if you lose, you still have a good path to win a division.
yeah, and especially with how physical this matchup can be. Do you want to risk it, especially as we just And see, this is the problem too. And I'll continue. Well, I know that this is going to be something we're going to continue to bring up, especially when you're forcing these teams to play in such a minimal time here. You know, when you're having to turn around and play again on a Wednesday, this
Mm.
is the problem that you run into. And for the Ravens, this is why that -6, it makes sense. And for the Steelers, is you kind of have to start thinking about what is important. And this is why load management is going to become a problem, especially before, whenever they decide that they're going to do a 18 game schedule, because it's coming. We know that, right? But at this point, this is what you got to deal with. And so if you're the Steelers, you kind of have to start looking ahead. This is why you've been able to have a good record, and so you have to kind of balance it out. And I get it. A lot of people are gonna say, "No, you're football players. You're not gonna pull a Javonte Campbell here, and you're not gonna quit."
Yeah.
But you also have to be smart about it, right, Gilbert? Like that's the thing too. And so that's gonna be something that I'll be looking at. It's a Saturday matchup. They're on TV, and I like the Ravens in this game for that reason. But you also, like you said, you have to take care of business. If you do, like, if you don't play TJ Watt, if you sit out George Pickens again, you have to make sure that you win those last two games, or else you have we saw what happened last season, Gilbert, with the Dolphins. They were in a good position, and then they started losing a bunch of games, and then the Bills came and won that and won that division. So you kind of have to be careful there. But this is the problem when you have to play so many games in a short amount of time.
And one more thing, especially for the AFC North title picture and why they should be cautious. The Ravens have the same issue. They have to go play on Christmas Day against a very good Houston team. What if they lose that one and then
Yeah.
you sacrifice everything for one game? It could really break your way. So don't force it here. So I'm with that, but I'm ready to get to some comments before we break down Broncos Chargers.
Yeah, and Robert D, we'll get to that comment that you have about the Chargers because that's our next game. But he says NFL has games every day, but a Tuesday now
Yeah.
for this year. He says so.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
remember COVID had a couple of Tuesday games. That was weird.
right? We had some Tuesday games because of a snowstorm. I remember. I think it was Vikings Eagles, if I remember right.
I can't remember. I might have.
That was when they had that quarterback. Oh my God, what was his name? Something Tavares Jackson.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I
Yeah.
remember that. I want to say there was also Bills Steelers. Didn't that take place like on a Monday
Yes.
or Tuesday
Yeah.
because of
Yeah. It was
COVID
like
or
on a
something?
Tuesday. Yeah.
The playoff game, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's been weird. But this year, there's no really excuse for that. There's no weather thing. There's no I guess pandemic thing. It's more like we want to get ratings and have more money in our pockets. So yeah.
Yeah. And we got Johnny G. I just want to get your, I want to make sure that I can share that comment there.
No, we're good. Unless he's
Uh,
talking about Robert
we
or
we
something.
see you, Johnny G. Though. Send some like PG or PG-13 comments, and we'll make sure to get them on here for you. All right, as we said, Broncos versus Chargers is our third and final headline game, and the Chargers are 2.5 point favorites. The over under here is 42. And let me get to that comment here by Robert D. And he says, talking about getting hit, Herbert has tied his career high with 38 sacks. It is not his rookie year.
Yeah, that's not very good at all, and I don't think Robert and Jorge are gonna like my analysis here. And I know people are like hesitant to say, are the Broncos are really a good team? And I don't even think that's a conversation right now. They're just they're just healthy. They have a complete team. They have a more of a balanced team, and you could tell the Chargers are really struggling right now. Yes, they're at home. I get that. Try playing on 4 days' notice when all your skill players are hurt. You're also banged up on defense. You also don't really have a good offensive line in the middle, at least. You have to face the number one sack team in the NFL with 47. By the way, Nick Bonito, man, starting to make a name for himself. He was one of the draft picks that the Broncos got from the Rams in the Von Miller trade. Took him a while to get going, but I just saw he has 11 and a half sacks. He has a touchdown return for an interception, a touchdown return on a fumble, which kind of was an interception last week, but he's a sneaky name that's coming up for defensive player of the year. So, uh, I'm not going to say that the Broncos defense is better than the Chargers, but they're pretty close to it. Maybe they are better. Who knows? But the sacks are definitely a thing. The Chargers are not that far down. Obviously, 40 sacks, as you guys know here. But and also, Bo Nix maybe have some bad games. Maybe it throws a couple interceptions. As long as you're not pick sixes, they have enough to overcome. And I'll say this: I get that Bo Nix is a rookie and Justin Herbert is not a rookie. Obviously, he's a star player in this league. But I think when a lot of people talk about Jim Harbaugh and being antsy and wanting the results now, look at what Sean Payton is doing in year two. He doesn't even
Yeah.
have that quarterback, but his scheme is in place. Everybody knows what the hell they're doing. They all know their jobs. They know what to do. A year two makes so much of a difference, and that's why I'm going to pick the Broncos here and to also win and cover or whatever, cover or win plus 2.5 because Sean Payton, like, look at their roster. Who the hell is really their star player? But they find a way to get it done. They know how to run the football well. They have two rookie receivers behind Cortland Sutton, Vele, and Troy Franklin. They don't really have a tight end. The running backs are kind of whatever. The offensive line is pretty
Yeah.
good actually, which is kind of their offensive line has a little more balance than the Chargers, but eventually Jim Harbaugh will do that. So, like, I know you don't want to compare it to the Broncos and the Chargers. You guys are rivals, but look what a year two with a good head coach, with a good leader, a good CEO could do. Like it takes a little longer sometimes, but year two, and that's when you really could tell when the coach is going to be legit with the program that he currently has. So to me, because of coaching, they're just healthier, they're rolling, and I'm just very concerned about the Chargers' lack of depth, lack of skilled players, and maybe a little fatigued right now.
Yeah, and every point you made is right on, and I want to share this comment here from Robert D.C. Gilbo. I feel we may lose this game also. So he's right with you as well. My thing is you're right in terms of what you said about Harbaugh, and I I I was someone who said, hey, you have to be a little bit patient with this team. Even before the season, a lot of I got a lot of pushback about that. And so that was my main concern with this team was like eventually the lack of debt is gonna catch up to you, and that is what's happening right now. My thing too, Gilbert, though, is I don't want to keep sounding like a hater when it comes to the Broncos, but I paid attention to that Colts game, and the Colts pretty much beat themselves. Like Jonathan Taylor
Yeah.
dropping the ball at as he's going into the end zone, that should have been 7 points. Then because of that, they're having a do a trick play, and that ends up turning the ball over and turning into 7 points for the Broncos defense. And so if the Colts had just if you play a clean game against the Broncos, which this Chargers team should be able to do, I don't see a reason why you can't win this game. But as you said, like good coaching here make it is gonna matter, and these two coaches are really good. It'll be interesting to see which one is able to make the adjustments. I think this game kind of comes down to the coordinators. I think for me is what does the Chargers offensive coordinator do against Vance Joseph? Because Vance Joseph has been the key here for the Broncos and why the Broncos have won a lot of these games. And I'm sorry, like I'm not trying to hate on Sean Payne, but I just feel like there's guys that don't get the credit, and Vance Joseph is one of those guys because he's made this Broncos team a lot better than people thought it would be this season.
Yeah, even Sertan could be maybe a defensive player of the year candidate. So they're rolling defensively. Like they have some of their down days, but I also don't want to forget that these Broncos got blown out by the Chargers at home.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can make a case that the Chargers just have a better roster overall, which is hard to say because they're very thin and very in a lot of spots, but like they're just not healthy, and you need to be perfect for this thin roster to compete, and they're not that right now. So that's why I'm worried
Yeah.
about them. But hey, I wouldn't be surprised because they do have a little more talent. They have the better quarterback here, and yeah, and surprising people are agreeing with me. Jeffrey saying Chargers offense stinks right now. Unfortunately, I love Lamb McConkey, but like you need more than Lamb McConkey. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, one question I think I
Yes,
saw,
here we
Chris.
go. It's from Chris Bird. As a second place, would you start Javante Williams, Jalen Coker, Tajay Spears, or Zach Charbonnet?
Well, I've been rolling with Zach Charbonnet because
Yeah, I
he
was.
got
Yeah,
me the consolation title game. I know it was a little shaky, but he got a touchdown. If Kenneth Walker doesn't play, I'm okay with that one, Victor. And after that, you kind of reaching a little bit for the other three guys. What do you think?
yeah, I'm with you. I think it's Zach Charbonnet one, Javante Williams two, and then it's your pickup of Jalen Coker or Tajay Spears. You just the problem is Tajay Spears is in a committee, and then Jalen Coker, even though he scored a touchdown last week against the Cowboys, he's a undrafted rookie, and you don't know if you're gonna get that every week. Although I do like the Panthers this week, I didn't like them last week.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
could
think we both
see. Yeah,
agreed that there was too much of a public favorite that they're gonna
yeah,
lay an egg, and they did.
yeah. Chris Burr says I lost Godwin, CMC, and Debo is cheeks. So
Yeah,
yeah,
good
I'm
assessment on Debo.
yeah, that is true. One more here from Robert D says Roman is not the correct OC for Herbert. 5 years and this is still going on. So
Yeah,
yeah, like
that's
that's the
tricky, man. Because like, do you want to really go through another OC change? But
yeah.
I don't know. I'm like with Fernando. I preach patience for this coaching staff.
Yeah, but that's the thing, like, and one of the things that Fernando pointed out is that the one thing, and it might be a flaw for Harbaugh, is that he's super loyal. So you might be stuck with Roman for a while now, and that's if and that's the thing. Like most of the people who I've listened to, a lot of people are not big Roman fans outside of the Chargers, and
Yeah,
that was one of my biggest things too, Gilbert. That was part of the reason why I didn't pick the Chargers to make the playoffs because I'm like, look, if you really want to, you know, get the best out of Herbert, this is not the guy you want. This is more of like, hey, I want a certain style that I want to run here, and that's the thing is like it's that meme with the porch in the garage. That's what you have in when you have someone like
yeah.
Roman, and
It's kind
that's
of
just
like
the
Bill
reality.
Belichick, where Belichick's always going to get McDaniels and his other guys that he's very connected to. So you kind of have to deal
Yeah,
with it for those coaches
yeah,
like that. But we got another
exactly.
question here, right?
Yeah. He says, "Hi, how do you feel about Cup against the Jets and Kittle against Miami?"
God's honest truth, and I'll say it again, God's honest truth. I will not be burned by Cooper Cup again. If I had him in my lineup and he gave me a big fat zero, a goose egg, I would not fall for it again. I'm sorry, God's honest truth. But I could play Kittle. I love Kittle. He's been doing well all year. Kittle against Miami. I guess it depends on who you have as a backup. Like if you have a Brock Bowers or Trey McBride who can't score a touchdown, by the way, then maybe you think about it. But I'm okay with Kittle all day.
Yeah, he's the one guy outside of Jennings. It's Jawan Jennings, and then George Kittle, who Purdy likes to go to. So yeah, and then with Debo, it's just like Jeffrey's Sombrano says, Debo isn't bad. He's just not getting the ball. So yeah.
Yeah, and I like that one. But would you risk playing Cup again?
Okay, so I was gonna get into this, but it's gonna be kind of hard for me to trust Cup right now, just because that offense is running through Puka Nakua right now. And even if you get someone else involved, Gilbert, it sounds like the Marcus Robinson is who Stafford likes to go deep a little bit,
Yep.
especially when all three of those guys are healthy. Like if you look at the stat sheet, since all three of those guys have been healthy in the second half of the season, it's been Demarcus Robinson catching the touchdowns and Stafford being fed the ball on with touches.
Yeah, that's three strikes right there. Like you have a volume receiver, possession receiver, chain mover, and Puka Nakua. You got a high scoring running back in Kyron Williams. Then you have a stretch the field guy who gets touchdowns and Demarcus Robinson. Yeah, good luck trying to get targets, catches, and a touchdown. Like he's capable of doing it, but and then the Jets are not very good either. The freaking Mac Jones lit them up, by the way. So it maybe everybody can eat, but I don't want to risk it for the fourth option to maybe eat on this in this offense.
Yeah, and the other thing, Gilbert, is that this might be a trap game for the Rams, having to go on a early morning game to New York, and we've seen that like last season against the Giants, they did the same thing. It was around this time of year, and they barely held on. So I just, I'm not expecting them to score a lot of points in this game. So there's not going to be a lot of targets for Cup, but we've seen otherwise. They had a 36-point game against Baltimore last season
Yeah, good
around
point.
this time as well. So there's also that.
Yeah, we got another one. They're coming in. I
Yes,
like it.
one
Keep them
more.
coming.
Yeah, Jeffrey says, yeah, Stafford just spraying the ball pretty well, and that's part of the problem. And like I said, the Rams don't play as well on the road when they're having to go, you know, three time zone. Yeah, they win, but the problem is their offense isn't as good. That's part of the problem. Here you go. You got one more. Shadow is wicked. Says pick two, one wide receiver, one flex. MHJ, Thielen, Quentin Johnson, Rashid White, Travis, ETN. Thanks in advance.
I don't want any part of ETN, but that's my problem with fantasy. When I have like some kind of bias for somebody sucking, I never believe in them.
Yeah.
ETN and Bigsby, I always try to avoid them. White's been steady, but Bucky Irving, man, is right there. Quentin Johnson's very hard to trust. Thielen, I got burned. I trust him last week. He still got me 10 points, but I thought it was gonna be a little better. I think I'm done with the MSJ experiment. I've been one of the biggest proponents of him. Like I've been very patient. I've been trying and trying and trying. Oh, they're playing the Patriots this week. Matchup proof. Let's do it. Not even that, man. So I don't know what to pick here, Vic, but I'm leaning Thielen and Rashard White. I don't know what you're thinking.
Yeah, it's either gonna be MJ, like because of the targets, but
Yeah.
you're right. I
The
think
Panthers too.
Thielen, at least we know Bryce Young loves Thielen, and it's Rashard White. So I'm good with any of those three. I'm not. I took a chance in one of the leagues during a bye with Quinn Johnson. He got me 0 points. I'm not going there. And then Travis Etienne, he's going up against a bad Raiders defense, but can we count on him? Even Bijan Robinson didn't go up against the Raiders. You would think they would have gone off, but it's just hard to kind of
Mm.
trust any of these guys right now. Outside, like I said, Rashard White and I can't believe it, but it's between Thielen and MAHJ.
It's so hard because Marvin's playing the freaking Panthers, but last week he played the Patriots, and also Kyler Murray's not good either. It's not even a Marvin Harrison thing. Like
Yeah.
Kyler Murray's not very good, and then we saw James Conner just took it. Like when you like put it that way, when they're playing a bad team, James Conner's gonna go off
Oh
and
yeah.
take all the touchdowns right there. And I think he had like what 40 points, I forget. Rashad White, like man, like he's like I had him all season, and like he's like that ugly girlfriend that you're kind of like, I'll keep it going. She's faithful, she's committed, but they'll get you like 10 to 14 points, and you kind of like that sometimes. It's
Yeah,
weird with Rashad
the
White.
thing with him is like he might not get you a lot of rushing yards, but at least he can get the ball out of the backfield. And Mayfield likes to spread the ball around. So it just happens last week they went off. So it's hard. I got one more here from God's Honest Truth said, I got Jennings, but Samuel cries too much and takes away from Jennings. And I also have Wilson, but Roger loves Adams.
Yeah,
So you say don't play Cup, his upside is high.
honestly, if you have Gary Wilson, I'd rather take a chance with Gary Wilson. I know he's
Yeah.
annoyed with the Devontae Adams targets, but also, are we convinced that the Rams secondary just got better? They have a good front, but I don't think they're still better than the
Yeah,
secondary.
I have Wilson. I'm playing Wilson this week. I can tell you that, Gilbert.
There you go. You got some options, man. Man,
Yeah,
for God's honest truth, that's my truth there. So go with
yeah.
those guys.
And then one more here from Jeffrey. He says, "I don't trust any of them. Honestly, White is probably your best
Yeah,
bet."
the ugly girlfriend that you had in high
Yeah,
school that you can't just go away from, or maybe you got. I shouldn't keep going, but
yeah,
yeah. Anyways, but yes, high school sweetheart that you just can't get over.
yeah. All right, well, yeah. Keep sending us your fantasy questions, especially during
Yeah,
playoffs right now. There's a lot of questions here that we can answer for you guys. I know there's a lot of good it's a lot of good matchups, Gilbert, just because, some guys might not be playing and other guys, you just don't know what to expect. You want to
yeah.
avoid. I know one of our league mates got bounced because Cooper Cup had 0 points last week. So,
Yeah, and then one
yeah,
of our league mates lost because he benched Jared Goff, who had 53 points, and I think he
yeah.
lost by like 35 points. So he would have won with
Yeah,
Jared Goff.
so he could have won had he started Goff instead of Darnold. So
Ugh, Darnold was
yeah,
not very good.
sometimes you got to make those decisions and they're hard. That's why I'm like we complain about the way some teams manage their team, and then yet we have that same, we're having to do the same, and we can't even decide between Jared Goff and Sam Darnold. So yeah, it's tough out there right now for a lot of fantasy owners. All right,
Yeah,
Gilbert, let's get to our betting locks of the week for week 16. I forgot to change this, but uh we I think you got I got we both went 2-5 or 2-3 last week with our best bets. This is the our tally now for the season. I am up to 128 and you're at 107 after week 15.
yeah. I need a 15-0 week where you get 0 and I get 15 to come back. But I'll keep fighting here for pride. And but yeah, I'll be quick here because I actually been enjoying these fantasy football questions. It's a big week for playoffs, so keep them coming. I'll keep this short in case we get more questions because I know we got to get going in 25 minutes. But let me go speed rounds for my five, Victor. I think the
Yeah.
first one I already forgot. I actually pull it up right here for
Yeah,
me. You
here
can.
you go.
There we go. I'm on the Buccaneers bandwagon and Cowboys. Yeah, you beat up on the Panthers, and I actually called that one there. My heart wanted to pick the Panthers, but I think I got the Cowboys to cover. But not this week. Buccaneers -4. What do you got for my fourth one here?
Can I just say I was actually going to make this one my best bet, but the other way. I think a lot of people are going off of what the Buccaneers did against the Chargers. Just keep an eye. I ended up changing this, but I had the Cowboys at +4. So I just the Cowboys are starting to play for McCarthy,
They
and
are.
that means he might keep his job now. But just something to keep an eye on now that a lot of their guys on defense are playing better, but I would not be surprised if this is a close game. All right, Gilbert, you're number 4.
Yeah, I got the Broncos +2.5. As I mentioned earlier, I just think they're a healthier team. They're a more complete team right now, and they're being well coached in year two with Sean Payton. So I'm taking the Broncos +2.5.
All right, next one. You number 3.
Yeah, this one I might get in trouble because I'm just being petty. I don't care for the Dolphins at all. Tua Tagovailoa, like you were just very awful, and people are trying to make him a thing. Oh, look at that! Look how much better the Dolphins are when he's healthy. It blows it in Thanksgiving night against in Green Bay. Blows it in Houston when there's no weather factor. You have 3 interceptions. Like I'm kind of over the Dolphins until you break it
Yeah.
up or try something different. I don't want to see you. So 49ers go in there and beat them up. I know you're kind of playing for pride, but go and take your anger out on the Dolphins here.
Yeah, I could totally see that one. I just think the 49ers, especially, it feels like this is a big brother, little brother kind of matchup
Oh
just
yeah.
because of, you got Kyle Shanahan and they're pretty much running the same kind of style of offense, but trying to do it with like faster dudes. Yeah, it's one of those. But I'm with you. I think Kyle Shanahan is gonna try to blow out the Dolphins here. You're number 2.
Yeah. Shout out to you, Boltillo. I like the excitement there on Gilberto, but that's more of Dan Diego's job. Good picture there. I like the bucket hat, the
Yeah,
Chargers
that's
bucket
pretty
hat there.
cool. That is a cool bucket
Yeah.
hat.
Shout out to you, Boltillo. But I already mentioned this one. I'm gonna just take the okey doke here. Maybe Carson Wentz plays and they surprise everybody. Give me the Texans +2.5. And I even got them outright winning. My number one because they've kind of been helping me out with bad teams. Like I always went against the Bengals against good teams, but against bad teams they've been holding it down. Like like let's not forget the Cowboys just lost to the Bengals here on a stupid block punt. So I think I'm hoping the Cowboys screw that up again. But I'm a little concerned here, Victor, because it's 7.5. I've been going with the fives and 5.5. 7.5 is a little too high for my taste, but I'm gonna go with the hot hand. It's like you're at the craps table. You're feeling
Yep.
it. Keep rolling the dice here. Bengals beat up on these bad teams. Take out your frustration here. -7.5. Number one. No, not number one, but number 1 point for me.
Yeah, well, Dio, send your fantasy question. And
Yeah, send them over.
if
Yeah, we got
yeah,
20
even if
minutes
you
here.
don't get them into this, we're gonna be on Four Compas, so we'll answer them there because we know that it's really important right now. So
Okay, we got a
yeah, go
couple
ahead and
right
either
now.
send them here or for Four Compas, Voltillo. But yeah, and then just to kind of finish up what you were saying here, and then we'll get more to the comments. Is yeah, I'm with you with the Bengals here. The Browns might start DTR. It sounds like they might have given up on our guy there. So we'll see what
Yeah,
happens there.
yeah. I forgot about Jameis Winston.
Jameis Winston
He's
might not.
been
Yeah,
he's been
they
bad.
might sit him. So yeah, and the Bengals are pretty much. I mean, look, if they win out, they have a chance to get into it. Now, do I think so? I don't know, but
I
they
would
still
have
have an
kind of given this
opportunity.
some attention, but they lost a tiebreaker to the Chargers, so I don't know.
Right.
And I think no, they don't play the Broncos, do they? I forget. No, I don't actually they do. They play the
They do
Broncos
play the
in 2
Broncos,
weeks, so you
so
get a head-to-head
yeah,
tiebreaker.
so
But
let's
they're
say
3
the
games ahead,
Broncos
though.
lose to let's say the Broncos lose out, there's a chance that the Bengals end up getting
Yeah,
the 7 seed.
well,
So
never say
they
never.
have something to play for. So
Yeah,
there's also
good point.
that, Gilbert. Here, let me get back to these comments. God's Honest Drew says, I'm in a 4-team league and an 8-team league. And my 4 team, I'm in a 3-game losing streak because I don't think too much and didn't trust my dues. I left 50 points on the bench, Connor and AJ Brown.
Man, a
That's pretty
14
tough.
league must have a bunch of star players. Like you're probably
Yeah.
loaded. Everybody's averaging like
Yeah.
250 points per week. But yeah, 50 points on the bench is very tough.
And then one more from Gonzalez. The Bills are playing in the snow and they're playing New England. Do you play Denver against Chargers? And thank you. God bless.
Uh,
I think he's talking about the
yeah,
defense. I think
defense.
you do you I would out of all these, I played the Bills defense
Yeah,
against the
I'm
New
still
England in
with
the
it.
snow.
Yeah, because
If
at
it,
least I know Herbert's interception streak is over, but I think May might give you a couple turnovers here to get some points there too. I'm with
yeah.
that.
And to Boltillo's comment here, it says Gibbs to the moon. Do
Hey,
you think Gibbs is like one of those guys that you got to start right now because of the, the amount of carries, or
yeah.
did he just benefit from having Montgomery kind of, kind of be the physical guy, and then he would come in and kind of break off long runs?
Well, it's a little bit of both, but like I'm gonna trust Gibbs because he plays in a very good offense with with a good coach and knows how to scheme it up. So put it this way: either he doesn't do well as a downhill runner, between the tackles runner. He doesn't benefit from Dave Montgomery beating up on the defense, and then here comes second quarter. All right, change the pace back, come here and destroy this team with your fast defense after they got beat up by Dave Montgomery. He could always just be an outlet passer. Okay, cool, dump off here, take one to the house. I'm always going to bet on his upside, on his speed. He is the very attractive version of Rashad White. So even if he's getting catches, I know that probably sounded weird for Boltillo, who just got here. But yeah, regardless of how they use him, he's going to get touches. He's going to probably be dynamic and get some points here. So I'm with that. Take him to the moon. But I am worried about maybe forcing the between the tackles runner that he is not really.
Yeah, it'll be interesting how they use them, and if they get them 30 touches, just because they were kind of sharing the load there, and then how much I don't even know. Do you know who their
Number
third running
two?
back is?
Yeah, number three. I actually don't know, but hey,
Yeah,
for Boltillo's sake, hopefully he's getting 30 touches. Jameer Gibbs here, and he
yeah,
brings out a good point in the last comment. By the way, he's fresh because of Montgomery eating a bunch of carries. Montgomery
yeah,
was the starter and the closer, and in the middle is when Gibbs was beating up on these teams here. So now he's gonna be the fourth quarter running back. We'll see how he does.
yeah. We'll see. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Alex Flores says Richardson, Love, or Rogers at quarterback.
Rogers
I already
playing
know
the Rams. Jordan Love is who are the Packers playing, Victor? I forgot.
the Giants. I mean,
Oh,
the Saints.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, give me. I don't want any part of Richardson. I've been very patient with
yeah.
Richardson. He was terrible last week. Give me Jordan Love right here.
Yep, I'm with you there. And then I know Rodgers finally had a 300-yard game. I think in two
Yeah.
consecutive games. Is that correct? I
Actually,
know he
yeah,
finally had
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Now
But
he's had
it was the Jaguars, and I guess the Dolphins are kind of so. But yeah,
yeah. So he's finally hit the 300-yard mark. So and he's done it now in 2 straight weeks. So yeah. So I know the Rams defense is suspect, but man, they're gonna their four-man front is gonna be big. So Boltillo says he's got Gibbs, Chase, Puka taking me to the ship. So
yeah,
you
it's
you
pretty
have Chase.
trio.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Chase was a one man team in my in my team in my league, but at least I'll get a consolation tab out of it if I beat our good friend Alonso next week or this.
yeah, that'll be a good one to watch. All right, now for my best bets. My number 5, Gilbert. I'm gonna go with the Vikings. You know how you were talking about the whole Patrick Mahomes. I think the same thing is going on with Geno Smith. They said that they expect Geno Smith to play in this game. I just think right now the Vikings, they really want that division title. They cannot let down right now. They know that the Lions are going to play the Bears. Their matchup next week is looming big. I just think you need to take care of business here against the Seahawks. And I'm not saying this because the Seahawks are going up are trying to stay with the Rams. It's just that's the thing with the Seahawks is when they play really good teams, they get kind of exposed, and that's my biggest issue here with the
Oh yeah,
Seahawks. So,
I'm with that
give me
one.
the Vikings at 3.5 here. My next one is I'm gonna keep writing the Bills over on there, and I know it's supposed to it's supposed to snow. The same thing happened against the 49ers, and they covered the over here when it was a snowstorm in Buffalo. So Bills Patriots over 46 here. It's pretty easy for me here. And then this is one of the ones I'm taking,
Ooh.
Gilbert, is Panthers plus 4.5 against the Cardinals. They would you mentioned that last week. It was the Panthers' first time being the favorite in 2 years. And I think that probably kind of made a lot of people bet on the Panthers. And so because they lost that, a lot of people came off of it. And
Oh
so
yeah.
I don't believe in the Cardinals. They're having to go to the Panthers, to the East Coast, and you're giving me 4.5 points here. Give it to me here. Like the Panthers have been playing way better lately. They just ran into a Cowboys team that was hungry, and so I there's no shame in that. My number two is this is another one where the public is probably seeing that the Lions have all these injuries. I don't have any trust in the Bears. The Bears have been outscored something like 65-15.
Yeah, they
It's
can't even
since
score in the
they
first
fired.
half either.
Yeah, so I'm like, I know this game is outdoors, but the Lions are gonna are the Lions are pissed right now.
Oh yeah,
They're losing a bunch. You just saw Campbell be on a radio station, using a couple of F bombs. They're pissed about the injuries, but I still like the Lions in this game. To blow out the Bears even on the road. I'm good. And then I'm gonna keep it going, Gilbert. Yeah, I finally lost a big bet here on one of the big spreads, but give me the Saints plus 13 and a half at home against the Packers. you know, can I give you any reasons why this is going to be any close? No, but you know what? This has been something that I've been liking to do.
yeah,
The Packers have been solid, but sometimes one of these teams is going to, you know, just say, you know what? We just want the win and we just are happy to get out of here. So,
yeah.
yeah, I'm,
They're not the Giants, so maybe you have a better chance here.
yeah. So now let's get back to these comments. Boltillo says he also has Burrow, so he's got that
Yeah,
stack with
loaded.
Chase and Burrow. God's honest truth says my second team is number one seed. I'm taking a chance with Ford in the flex. It's either him or D Hop.
I like Ford. He actually in my other league he went off for me, so I was a nice surprise. I think I was hurt. I was banged up by running back. I picked up Jerome Ford and he went off. So also Nick Chubb, by the way, which
Yeah, that's
unfortunately he got hurt.
yeah, that's the thing. The fact that you don't have to worry about Nick Chubb is why you should go with Ford in the flex there. And then Alex Flores says Pickens or Garendo. I don't think Pickens might
Yeah.
play, but either way, I'm going with Garendo.
Yeah, Pickens was a DMP this week, and I don't want to risk it. Hammies are just tricky, man. Look at Jalen Waddle last week with the Dolphins. He had a hammy thing on the injury report. They took him off the injury report, went to go play, and he pulled it again. So I'm not messing with hammies. And Garendo was supposed to be hurt last week, ended up playing, and he did pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm with Garendo here, especially since they're coming off that little mini buy. That's why I like the 49ers too, because they're coming off that little
Hmm.
mini buy, and they're pissed. Like with everything that happened, with a player quitting there, they're gonna come out. They're not gonna quit on Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan's too good of a
Yeah,
coach for them to quit on him. But yeah, continue to send us your fantasy questions. We got about
got 10
5 to 10
minutes.
minutes here. So make sure you send us your fantasy questions and we'll answer them. All right, Gilbert, let's get our quick dump offs where we pick the rest of the NFL games. And I thought about making this one a headline game for us to talk about, but you got the Philadelphia Eagles at 3.5 point favorites. The over under is 47 at the Washington Commanders.
Just because I want to make myself look good when people say, "Why did you make this pick?" I tend to go with 3 or 4 underdogs outright. I don't care how the schedule is. I don't care how somebody's very dominant. Some weeks people will say, "How are you going to pick a dog here?" It happens all the time. So that's the way I do it. And I didn't learn my lesson when I picked the Commanders the first time, and I'm going to go with them again. Only reason I could give you here, Victor, is a divisional battle. The Eagles keep rolling. Maybe they're due for a loss here. Also, Marshawn Lattimore played very well in his debut. I know it was the Saints, and the Saints probably didn't want to mess around with Spencer Rattler and Jake Hayner testing that guy. But I'm going to go here, and I'll take the plus 3.5. That's probably the better bet. But I'm going to take them outright here just because I don't know how to I just don't know how to give up on these Commanders here.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Like I would go with the Commanders here with the line. I like the Eagles to win, but in terms of the line, I can see the Commanders. It's a divisional game, and we'll talk about it in Fort Compass. But there's still a lot of things I don't like about the Eagles,
Mm.
like the fact that they came out, post game, and they're like, "Oh, like Jalen Hurts was like, oh, this is what you guys wanted," and I'm just like, "Bro, no." Nobody said anything. That was your guy AJ Brown, the one that brought
And
it up.
Brandon
So
Graham too.
yeah, so don't blame the media on that one. All right, Gilbert. Our next one is New York Giants at the Falcons,
Ugh.
and we just got news, Gilbert, that
Is it?
Raheem Morton has named Michael Penix Jr. the starting quarterback moving
Oh,
forward.
nice. Okay. I'm. I can't take the Falcons -9. I don't care which quarterback it is. Give me the
Yeah,
Giants to cover, even when they stink. but give me the Falcons to win here. And finally, Raheem Morris. It took you a little longer, but you're still in the race here for the NFC South. Give me Michael Penix Jr. and the Falcons to win.
Yeah, give me the. I like the Falcons here, but I'm with you too. Like the New York, that's a big number for They just scored 15 points against the
Yeah.
Raiders. It was 15 and
I,
9.
I thought I was gonna get a cover there. I was like, "What the hell? They're still in this game here," and I couldn't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. And then talking about the Raiders now, Jacksonville Jaguars are
Yeah.
1 point favorites at the Las Vegas Raiders with Desmond Ritter actually, we might get AOC. He should be able to go, but we'll see. I mean, I think that's
Okay.
part of the reason why the Jaguars are 1 point favorites here.
Yeah. This is another one where I forced an upset because I know the Raiders stink, but I'm not gonna go with the Jaguars as a favorite on the road. Are you crazy? No, I'm not. So give me the Raiders for the effort because they've been, I guess not very good, but like they're at home and it's the Jaguars. I don't care about Mac
Yeah.
Jones. Give me the Raiders here.
Yeah, it all depends on who. If it's Desmond Ritter, give me the Jaguars all day. Like that just tells you that they're honestly like they're pretty much just tanking. If it's
Oh
all
yeah,
AOC, I give them a chance here. But yeah, I I'm going with the Jaguars just because I like what I've seen from what's the backup quarterback Jones Mac
Mac
Jones.
Jones.
He's actually played really well, like not great, but he's been competent.
Yeah,
I can't trust anything the Vegas gets from their quarterback right now. Max Crosby's already out, Gilbert. Like, I mean,
yeah.
and I don't even know. I think it's on their defensive end is down to uh Clavon Chason and one other and Wilson from the draft pick from last season, and that's all they got. So yeah, they're pretty much in tank mode right now. So yeah, give me the Jaguars in this one.
By the way, Mac Jones is going to be the new Jameis Winston. He's gets hot and then he gets really bad.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's how it is, and somebody's gonna make him their starting quarterback
Oh,
next season. I can tell you that.
don't.
Who is it gonna be? I don't know, but we saw this with, every year it happens. Some guys work, sometimes Mitch Trubisky, like that's the guy I keep going back to. Like eventually, you just got to give up on some of these dudes, and some of them deserve it. Like we've seen with Sam Darnold, but you also have to go to a good situation. If you go to a good situation, then it's possible.
Yeah. We still
Next,
got another one. Okay, I'll be
yeah,
very quick. We still got to take a
we'll go
bathroom
through
break
these
here.
real.
Yeah, I don't care for anything that the Times are doing. Give me the Colts, even though they stunk last week. Give me the 3.5 too in the Colts.
Yeah,
Times are
same.
terrible.
I'm with you here. We agree on that one. And the last one is the Rams at the New York Jets -3.5. The
Yeah,
over under is
maybe you don't
46.
have to make a pick, Victor, because you got to have some intrigue on Wednesday. Up to
Yeah.
you, but I'll take the Rams and I'll take the Jets to cover. Why not? Give me something fun here.
Yeah, it'll be a good game. I can tell you this. It's going to be one of those games that it might be a trap game for the Rams. They need to make sure they win this game because they're going to be on a short week now. The schedule was just released and they're going to play on Saturday night next week.
Oh
So,
yeah, good point.
yeah. So, yeah, they need to make sure they take care of business on Sunday early morning game. All right, Gilbert, that's all I have for you. Waiting for any more. See, we had one more here from God's Honest Truth. He says, I got Correndo, but I don't trust it with Miami's defense. It's
Hey,
solid and they at home.
that's fine with me. As long as you don't like. That's the one thing I say. Hey, we could maybe give out advice. We're not gonna force anybody to take our advice because then they get mad at us. So
Right.
I also like to kind of hear people's side and not have it like, well, I told you this and I told you that. So good point there, Garendo. Sorry, God's honest truth for Garendo. Miami could be a little tough, but I will definitely take a chance on Garendo. But good luck to your league, to your playoff game and your league and all your leagues. Alex too, Boltillo. Boltillo is definitely on Team Gibbs. Shadows, Wicked, I think had one, and Chris had one, and obviously Robert, Jeffrey, Jorge, for jumping on. So we'll see most of you guys on the next show in like 5 minutes. So with that, we're gonna go take a quick bathroom break, Victor
Yep.
and I. So thank you for making the show a good one, even though we were on a Tuesday. A little random, but hey, it was worth it. I enjoyed it. I had fun. We almost made it not on a video live, so I'm glad we made it live for the comments here, so it worked out. But it's time to get going, Victor. We'll see
Yep.
you guys at Four Compas in a few minutes. But on that note, ya nos vamos. We'll see you in a bit. Ya pues, vámonos.